The following was originally published in 2018, and while I stand by the critiques of The Last Jedi I make, I deeply regret any direct personal attacks I make against Rian Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, or any other employee of Lucasfilm. Those comments were made in anger and frustration, and I will do a separate video about that after this series.
This is the part of the video that I generally take time out to thank my newest Patron supporters, but I have not had any new Patron supporters in the last day, so I just want to give a shout out to all my Patron supporters. You guys are awesome, and without you, these videos would not be possible. Last time we covered the opening minutes of The Last Jedi, and real quickly, a couple of points came up. A few people pointed out that in The Force Awakens, it is established that the First Order does indeed learn the location of the Resistance base. Fair enough. However, I did not assign any points, positive or negative, to my scoring system, so it makes no difference to the score. Also, a couple of people mentioned some non-film sources that explain why taking out one system would cause the New Republic to collapse. Now, I'm sure that all the information they provided is accurate, but if it is not in the films, I cannot, in fairness, include it in my review of the films. Just as I will not knock the films for not making Luke really cool like he was in the books, I will not give the film credit for important plot points left out but included in books or other media. Now, let's take a look at the Battle of Dakar. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not even sure if they mentioned the name of that planet in the film at all, but whatever. Last time on the Anti-Trekker, we had words in space, air in space, yo mama jokes in space, and NOS on an X-Wing for some reason. So Poe uses the NOS to get really close to the space triangle, and at that distance, while maneuvering at full speed, they cannot get a lock on the tiny ship. We do get some really cool shots of Poe outmaneuvering the gun turrets with ease as he takes them down one at a time. From the bridge of his Star Destroyer, we see Hux observing the battle, and by battle I mean he sees and hears explosions on the surface of the Dreadnought. Now, you may think that I'm going to complain about the whole sound in space thing, but since I covered that in the last part, I'm just going to chalk it up to the Force. Hux then places a Skype call to the Dreadnought and asks Captain Kennedy why they have not blown the X-Wing away, to which Captain Kennedy responds that it is too small and at too close range for their turbo lasers to get a bead on the fighter. They need to scramble fighters to deal with the situation, and they should have done so 5 minutes ago. Wait, isn't that what I said earlier? Anyway, Kennedy's first officer, the Wicked Witch of the West, says that the X-Wings will never be able to penetrate their armor, to which Kennedy replies that he's not trying to penetrate their armor, he's clearing out their surface cannons. Now, you may be thinking, what's wrong with that? Clearly, Captain Kennedy is correct. Yes, but it's not that Captain Kennedy understands Poe's plan that has me annoyed here. It's that Captain Kennedy is the only member of the First Order we have seen in this film so far that is not quite literally suffering from mild mental retardation. Look, I'm not exactly Mr. Politically Correct, but generally I do not like using the term retarded as a derogatory term for describing someone. After all, intellectual and emotional disabilities are a serious matter, but frankly, I can't think of a better term to describe the members of the First Order. Mild mental retardation is defined as a developmental disability characterized by intellectual functioning levels that are way below average and significant limitations in daily living skills. IQ would be somewhere in between 50 and 75 for a person suffering from mild mental retardation, and they could acquire academic skills up to the 6th grade level. So yeah, as silly as that may sound, that describes every member of the First Order we have seen with the exception of Captain Kennedy. Consider this. Poe shows up in his X-Wing in attack mode right in front of the Dreadnought, and the people are surprised not just that he attacks, but that he attacks the Dreadnought. You know, the ship that's right in front of him? As Poe is taking out the surface cannons on the Dreadnought, Captain Kennedy is the only one that observes that he is not trying to destroy the Dreadnought, but simply take out its defensive turrets. Of course, we also have the fact that nobody shot down Poe as he just sat there for over a minute, or that anybody launched fighters to attack the Resistance fleet, or heck, they just fired weapons at the Resistance as soon as they got there. Somehow, saying that they're inept, or stupid, or even just poorly written doesn't cover it. But if the entire organization is literally mentally retarded, well...
No, damn it!
Wait. Did he actually say what I thought he said?
Damn it!
Oh, damn it!
Look, I know that as far as profanity goes, this is pretty lightweight to be sure. Heck, it was allowed on television back in the 60s. But like Poe's gauge that I mentioned in the last video, it just feels out of place. It just doesn't belong in Star Wars. Aside from the stupidity of the fact that they just literally let Poe take out all but one of their turrets before launching fighters, this was a pretty cool scene. So Poe took a hit from one of the fighters and his weapons are offline, and we see, what appears to be a circuit board from a 1977 television? No, really. Remember when I showed you a picture of me from way back then? Well, my dad was an electronics engineer, so we had stuff like this laying around the house. This is some old school tech, but, you know, the Force. So the 1977 circuit board is sparking, but in Star Wars, apparently electricity works like water. And not just water, but cartoon water, where if you plug a hole, it starts to leak from somewhere else because the Force. So BB-8 is pretending to be a 1950s cartoon when we get a dramatic shot of some people who we have no idea who they are narrowly escaping as the Dreadnought finally destroys the abandoned Resistance base. No, really, who are these people? The way they shot this, you would think that I'm supposed to really care, but I'm seriously wondering if I missed some important part where they tell us who this person is. Of course, you can look up the character and you'll find out that this is Lieutenant Connix. Oh, that doesn't mean anything to you? Yeah, me neither, because not an important character, but Lieutenant Connix is played by none other than Billy Lord. Still means nothing? Yeah, I get that. You see, Billy is Carrie Fisher's biological daughter, so you know that makes her important, and I'm supposed to know this because she looks kind of like Leia, I guess? But, yeah, I'm supposed to care that Lieutenant Connix managed to get away. Yay. Base blows up, and I have to say, we are really spoiled in today's modern world of visual effects. When you look at this shot and you say, yeah, that was okay. No, this was incredible. But, hey, millennials suck. As soon as Lieutenant Connix relays to Leia that they have evacuated everyone, Leia orders Poe to come back so they can all escape. Poe protests, saying that they have a real shot at a Dreadnought, and since they took out the defensive turrets and the other 3 Star Destroyers are just going to sit back and not do anything if they attack. But Leia insists that they return to the ship so they can all escape. Now, there are 2 ways of breaking down this exchange. One on the tactics, the other on the characters. From a tactical standpoint, with the information currently available, Leia is correct, hands down. Yes, the Dreadnought is a high-value target, and they could no doubt take it down with acceptable losses. However, the entire Resistance is on 1 cruiser, 3 frigates, and a handful of strike craft. Any loss to the Resistance would be irreplaceable, while the First Order... well, the Dreadnought is just another expendable asset, and they have more just like it. From character standpoint, well, Poe decides to take the position that
Things are fleet killers. We can't let it get away.
Disengage now.
Commander, that is an order.
he can just turn off the radio and ignore Leia for reasons. BB-8 then repairs the electricity leaks on his ship by ramming his head into the 1977 circuit board because that would work. The Force. With the ship no longer leaking electricity, Poe shoots the last turret. Okay, that was awesome. The rest of the Resistance fighters and bombers that have not yet joined in the fight now decide to go to battle with Poe against the direct orders of Leia because the Force. So the bombers, which, well, remember when I said that I thought that the Dreadnought was the worst looking ship in all of Star Wars? Yeah, not anymore. So this person who we don't know orders the bombers to move in and the fighter pilots to protect the bombers because, you know, they didn't know what they were supposed to do if somebody attacked the bombers. And then this guy who we don't know acknowledges Blue Leader's orders because the Force. Then this guy who we don't know sees the fighters coming in, and you know, I might be excited about this battle if it wasn't for the fact that literally no one involved from either side of the fight do I care about. What? Poe, you may say? No, his ship is disabled, remember? He can't fight, so that leaves us with people. Whatever. So the fighters come in and, oh no, not that guy. Yeah, he's gone. So the battle begins in earnest. First, yes, the visuals are awesome. But we see that Poe, just as Poe figured, the 3 undamaged Star Destroyers do not engage because the Force. Besides that, in a few seconds, we're going to discuss the bombs dropping in space because, well, you know, there's
no gravity in space.
And I know that many of my nerdy fanboys will argue,
well, that's just because the bombs were driven by magnetic fields, not gravity, so you see it would work just fine in space.
Which, okay, fine. You know what? When we get to the bombs dropping, even though it is clear that the bombs just drop, I won't hit them for that. But you know what I will do? I'm going to point out that right here in this shot, when the bomber is hit, it goes down. You know, like it was falling out of the sky because the Force. So Captain Kennedy remembers that he's not an idiot and orders that they recharge their weapons to take out the cruiser. Poe, who is the one other character we might care about if he was in this fight, is watching from a safe distance and warns everybody that Captain Kennedy is not an idiot. Oh, and look, her again. So now I guess we're supposed to care because she's had 2 lines, I guess. So the bombers, and I wish I was making this up, open up their bomb bay doors because, you know,
there's no air in space.
Someone out there is thinking,
don't you know there's a force field protecting them?
Yeah, no. First of all, there is 0 on-screen evidence of any kind of force field. So yeah, could just write it off there. But don't worry, more is coming. So the bomber looks out the bottom of the ship to verify that he's on target? Really? No, don't believe me? That is the pilot's head looking down, seeing that he has a visual on the target. He's actually saying that line of dialogue in this scene. Then he needs to walk away from the cockpit in order to grab a remote control that's a good 15 feet away from him that arms the bombs. Unfortunately, while the system of having to walk back and forth around the ship to fire a single shot seemed like a great idea on paper, surprisingly enough, it does not work out, as a stray TIE fighter accidentally crashes into the bomber and takes out all the bombers in one hit. Oh, and once again, notice that the bombers start falling down as they explode because, you know,
there's no gravity in space.
Well, I know I've said all the bombers, but one bomber actually managed to survive. Woohoo! And we meet this person, who appears to be just another random person who is about to die. And well, technically, that is exactly what she is. But we will find out lots of stuff about her sister later. The sad thing is that Paige Tico's character did not have a single line of dialogue And yet, in the couple of minutes that she was on screen, she was compelling, interesting, and emotional. If the characters who actually said things in this movie were as well written as Paige Tico, I would no doubt be talking about how this was the best Star Wars film ever. In fact, from what we get in this 2 minutes of time, Paige Tico was more interesting than Rey. For some reason, Poe addresses Paige by name, even though she's the tail gunner and not the bomber on her ship. Keep in mind that on the other bomber, we got to see exactly how it all works. The pilot primes the bombs and releases them, not the tail gunner. But Poe is talking to the tail gunner because the Force. Poe is asking why the bay doors aren't open, and Paige obviously sees that this is a problem. Paige looks around and sees that the pilot is dead, and she desperately climbs up the ladder to get the remote control she should have had down in the bomb area in the first place, because she's down there by the bombs where the tail... Find my safe place. Find my safe place. So she climbs up the ladder to get the remote control. Then we get all the proof we need about all you people that insist that the ship had a force field over the bomb bay as a TIE fighter blows a hole in the cockpit, knocking Paige down the ladder she just climbed, and yet we don't see the air getting sucked out because
There's no air in space.
the best part is that after the cockpit is blown away and Paige falls down, the first thing we hear is her taking a deep breath. And we see open space behind her. Because, you know, there's a force field there. And the Force. Paige obviously knows she's done. Her pilot is dead. Her ship is crippled. She sees the remote and desperately tries to kick the ladder to knock it loose. Just as the dreadnought is about to fire on the Resistance fleet, she manages to find the strength because of the mysterious amulet she's wearing and kicks the ladder hard enough to dislodge the remote. She drops the payload, but not before breaking the laws of physics one last time. How, you may ask? Well, you can see in this shot she's clearly laying on her stomach on the catwalk with the remote in her hand. It's a nice shot, except that about 1 second earlier she was laying flat on her back kicking the ladder. So yeah, beautiful ending to the character and kind of stupid overlooking the basic continuity. Yeah, kind of funny how that works out. Oh, and look, it's her again. Are we really supposed to care about her? No, really, are we? Anyway, Paige's last action is to once again touch the amulet that inspired her and gave her the strength to sacrifice herself to save the fleet. Then, exactly 2 minutes after we met her, the greatest character of this film, Paige Tico, dies, and she takes with her the only member of the First Order that was not suffering from mild mental retardation. My comfort will come from the sea. The stillness of calm waves will gently drift by. I will be as one with the sea. When the sun sets on the ocean blue, remember me as I will always remember you. As the sun rises, go live life as full as can be. Apart you and me, but be at peace, for I am free.
Hit the like button, you will. Likes lead to comments. Comments lead to conversations. Conversations lead to understanding. Go to Patreon and support the anti-trucker you must, if supporting his videos you want. Yes, support his videos. Then listen to this at the end of the videos. You will not